Campbell personnel sighted a German periscope. They raced to the German U-boat's location and released a string of depth charges. But the stubborn sub's death blow was to be old school. The Campbell simply and violently rammed the U-boat. When the German crew bailed out through the submarine's conning tower and into the water, Sinbad was still on deck, quote, barking defiantly at the sub and its Nazi crew, his teeth bared, his tail stiff, and his eyes ablaze with anger. His ship, his fight. The Campbell's mascot was ferociously defending the ship from an enemy that had attacked them. While the ramming destroyed the submarine, the cost was incredibly high for the Campbell. She now had a gaping hole in her hull and began to take on water. The engine room flooded, the power went out, and the cutter was essentially a dead duck on a sea full of U-boats. Captain Hirschfield had been injured by flying splinters. Sinbad, in an uncharacteristic move, visited the captain's cabin to check on him. According to author George Foley, quote, the skipper was hurt, and the sensitive dog cocked his head from side to side as if to find out how badly. When he saw the captain smile at this unusual visit by the mascot, he sensed all was well and scampered from the cabin to rejoin the crew on the deck. All but essential personnel were ordered off the ship and onto the nearby Polish destroyer Berza, which had returned to protect the helpless Campbell. A handful stayed on board to patch up the hull, ensuring the ship stayed afloat while she was towed to safety. Asked about Sinbad, the captain didn't miss a beat. Quote, Sinbad will stay aboard. Nothing will happen to the Campbell as long as Sinbad is standing by her. The pup had more than earned his place on the ship. He was, as author Michael Walling declared, quote, as important to the ship as its engines and guns. A living legend. Sinbad's reputation steadily grew. At hundreds of ports on 2 continents, people knew him by name. He was a favorite in Londonderry, Ireland, and the feeling was mutual. When the Belfast Telegraph ran a story about him, quote, from then on the town was his. It was reported that, quote, Sinbad not only gets the keys of the city, he gets the whole lock, stock, and barrel. Whenever he went ashore, Sinbad made the local society columns. When he was guest of honor at a dinner for the crew at historic Guildhall, the papers ran with that story too. But Sinbad was no saint. For one thing, he loved to drink, and evidently could really put it away. A July 19, 1943 headline in Life magazine revealed his tippling ways. Quote, an old sea dog has favorite bars and plenty of girls in every port. The magazine described how Sinbad liked to jump on a bar stool, bark, and be served a shot of whiskey with a short beer chaser. Lap them up, then stagger on to the next haunt with his crew. The men willingly paid his tab. As can happen in the case of any hard-drinking sailor, there were a few times that Sinbad did not make it back in time and missed the ship. Once in Iceland, the Campbell was scheduled to leave, but Sinbad was nowhere to be found. Unbeknownst to the crew, he had been detained by a policeman who mistook him for a stray dog. The crew begged Captain Hirschfield to wait, but he had his orders to ship out. What happened next was like a scene straight out of a Lassie movie. Sinbad managed to break away from the police officer, but by the time he reached the dock, his ship had sailed. The men of the Campbell spotted Sinbad on the pier and informed the skipper, but he wouldn't turn back. Until Sinbad took matters into his own paws. The beloved mutt jumped into the ice-cold waters and swam frantically after the cutter. The captain was finally convinced to go back for him. Quote, if that dog wants to be aboard that much, swing about and pick him up. The Campbell did just that. But it was when he missed the boat in Sicily that Sinbad really caused a stir. Notice of his absence had been posted with the shore patrol and the army when the Campbell sailed. Sinbad had been missing for almost a week when shore patrol spotted and secured him. An American destroyer happened to be leaving for the United States, so Sinbad hitched a ride home to the East Coast. As the